What's up, everybody? It's Q and Chop, chopping it up.
What up, fam? How we doing today? Q, how we doing?
I'm blessed, man. How about you?
Man, this pandemic, it's starting to, I'm starting to, get used to it. I'm just, I'm seeing, glass windows when you go out and people with masks. I'm just getting used to it,
Right. Everyday life.
Yeah, man. I know people don't understand it, but the 6 feet difference and this social distancing, I get it, and I do my part. I'm just walking around every day now,
Right. I ain't scared about it no more. But man, who you got on the podcast? We got another special guest, man. Returning guest.
We have a return guest. So today we're talking about e-commerce, and we also talk about e-commerce with Priest Willis. Priest, how you doing?
Fellas, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me back. What's up, internets? What's going on with everybody?
How's this pandemic going for you?
Man, the pandemic, it kind of is what it is. I know people's frustration wanting to get back to work, but I also know, you got to be cautious about how we do it. You don't want to see, people don't start respecting deaths until it hits home. So it's easy to disconnect yourself and focus on just yourself. But if your mother, your grandparents or something like that start dying, then it gets really real. So, we still got to be respectful about it. We just got our masks. We ordered some masks for the family. We got those. And so we'll be wearing those out, and we just do our part, man. We pretty much been staying at home and chilling and been just trying to be true to it.
Yeah. It hit us out of nowhere. So everybody's trying to get through it. So what's been recent? What you been on lately? What's the newest project?
Right now, as you guys know, I'm focusing on my podcast, The Marketplace, inside themarketplace.com. That's always going to be, the piece that I try to keep building with. There's some other things that I've been looking at in terms of projects. One of the things that I've looked at one point was and I want to do this as a test. So I don't want to be held to it too tight, but I was thinking about starting a cigar review site. And so I went out and bought a cigar journal so that when I'm doing the YouTube channel, a guy named Tim Swanson wrote a cigar journal where you write down, the blends and the, what you thought about the cigar, the notes in it and all that kind of stuff. I went out and got a green screen and did the whole bit, but I'm just testing with doing reviews on cigars, but I'm also just trying to get my YouTube game up. I'm trying to use that as maybe this is a foray into YouTube. So YouTube is one area, man, that I've really, to be an e-commerce guy, I've really kept pushing it to the side, right? Because I haven't spent a lot of time with it. And this is the year where I'm really hyper focused on two things: my email list and YouTube channel. Those are the two things that I'm really, really going hard on, is being more consistent on my email list and building out my email list and getting emails out, and then working some angle into the YouTube. And I don't want to just talk finances and stuff like that on YouTube. I want to bring a different kind of value or something that I have fun at, a hobby or something along those lines. So we'll see. But those are the things I've been on. Right now I'm chilling on other stuff. Of course, I'm focused on Lenovo and running our global org there. But that's really at the heart of what I'm doing right now.
So I heard that the new data and the new emails is the new gold. Everybody wants to get a piece of it, Everybody wants your email. Everybody wants, what day you came in, what day you left, or if we go to those rest stops, between towns.
Yeah.
They ask you where you're from, where you coming from, where what
Right.
part of the country you're coming from. So everybody wants a piece of your your information.
Right. Yeah, so I always say data's the new oil, right? Because back in the day, when people hit a gusher, that was money. And so today, when you look at data, every company is positioning themselves to be in the data game. There's a company I'll call Honey, Honey. And Honey is basically a app or a toolbar that sits on your laptop and it helps you deal hunt. So when you're in a particular shopping cart, you're buying a product from, I don't know, Target or somewhere like that, it'll go out into the web and look for a coupon that you can maybe use to convert the sale in your shopping cart. But really, at the end of the day, somebody would look at Honey and say, well, that's just a coupon app. No, at the end of the day, Honey is actually collecting your audience, what they call audience information. So they're trying to figure out who you are as a customer. What are you shopping for? What are you converting in your cart? And you'll notice that recently, within this past 6 months or so, they've been acquired by PayPal. So, PayPal didn't buy them because they were a coupon site. PayPal bought them because of the data they've collected. Same with Google. When Google is out trying to collect your health information, which is now what they're trying to move into, it's all about collecting customer data. And whoever has that data has the gusher. They have that money. That's the oil. So, yeah, data is definitely the new oil for sure. And companies, man, they are building up robust, and have been for a very long time, robust data systems, and even getting into deeper subsets of data where they're figuring out, okay, Priest is between the age of 45 and 50. He's this kind of male. He shops for this. This is the kind of ads that will begin to serve him up. So all of that, it will move into voice searches. Alexa will start knowing what you like, and at-home tools will start knowing what you like. So data is huge, huge, huge.
Yeah, I definitely wanted to get in that game too. That's why I've been so excited to hear about the e-commerce podcast, especially with Priest of all people.
Thank you, bro.
How you following your passion, following your love, that cigar journey you was talking about.
Yeah.
You just gotta follow your passion. You never work a day in your life.
For sure.
I think we needed to point that out.
Yeah, man, that's part of the thing. Everybody's always trying to chase after something that seems glittery and gold. When I started in e-commerce, I didn't kick off in e-commerce. 1996, my dad takes me out to a state fair. We build computers together. Next thing I know, I start working with a friend. We built our first e-com website in 1996, 1997. And from there, we just start kind of building, and I get more and more into e-commerce. And then I didn't want to sell products anymore because people want to get into returns and do all that kind of stuff. And I hated dealing with the customer side of things. So that's how I started shifting over to the affiliate side of the business, where you're doing ads and all that kind of stuff. And affiliate has changed its face over the years, right? I mean, they went from blinky banners to belly fat ads and all this crazy stuff, but affiliate is pretty wide and vast, and affiliate is just one part of e-commerce. But it just so happened that from building computers with my dad in 96, 97, I just happened to make slow moves into the e-commerce space based on what I like to do. I wasn't chasing after anybody, or somebody told me, hey man, I'm a firefighter. And I'm like, oh cool, I should go out and be one. No, I was just doing what I like to do. And now I happen to be here 20 plus years in the game, and I'm a vet in this thing. And e-commerce is just getting to the point where people are starting to now pick e-com over retail, even including in this pandemic here. And so e-com people are hotter than ever. And so, but it just worked out because I became passionate and enjoyed different aspects of e-commerce. So it wasn't like I went chasing after something. I enjoyed doing what I do, and now I'm here.
Yes. So what are the types of, you talk about some types of e-commerce. What are other types of e-commerce there are? I know that there's business to business, business to consumer, but what else are there?
Yeah, that's a good question. So e-commerce is a very broad statement, right? When you hear e-com, people just think, okay, Amazon, this, that, or the other. But when you look at e-commerce, there's pillars within that. So I just mentioned affiliate or partnership marketing. Then there's what's called SEO, or search engine optimization. There's SEM, or search engine marketing, or some of the older cats may know PPC, pay per click. There's email marketing. There's display, which people are paying for straight up ads to be featured on websites. There's programmatic marketing, meaning when people do marketing in social media. There's many different aspects to e-commerce that you can get into, including, we talked a little bit about digital. There are people that are becoming digital analysts. So there's different pillars within e-commerce that makes up e-commerce business as a whole. But typically, when you think of e-commerce, it is largely online, mostly online, and you would pit that against your typical brick and mortar. So if I go to Best Buy, Best Buy has brick and mortar, which I can walk into, buy a laptop or whatever. But typically what starts that off is e-commerce, because people do their shop. They start price comparison and all that stuff online. They start looking for the best product at the best price. They go out, read reviews about it, which may be done by affiliate people. They get emails that are sent in that are done by email marketing specialists. All of that is e-commerce that may even set up the conversion of the sale in the brick and mortar store. But ultimately, it comes back to e-commerce. So every year, e-commerce is growing stronger and stronger. And in fact, I think if anything changes, Chapo, I think the dynamic of how e-commerce plays a role in today's society changes even more. So even for those people that at one point were hesitant about shopping online for credit card reasons or whatever their reasons were, now they're comfortable with it because now they're getting food delivered at their house, which is still an e-commerce play. They're doing all their shopping, picking up their products at Walmart within 2 hours. Amazon has usurped UPS and FedEx, and now they have their own shippers direct from their distribution. So e-commerce, man, it's not going anywhere. If anything, at some point, it will slowly erode away brick and mortar retail as we know it today.
Yeah, I think so too. I definitely agree with that. It's like, the movies like WALL-E, futuristic movie talking about how we're going to, everybody's going to be stuck on the screen. Technology taking over the world. It really is. I mean, it makes life easier, and people, everybody wants easy.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the easy road in the Bible. Narrow path and a wide path.
That's true.
Well, people want convenience. That's why you have to, going back to talking about following your passions. If you're thinking about creating a business, you have to create a need. Think about Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs had his designers and people behind him that created a phone that we didn't know we needed. And he made it so that we needed something. So sometimes you either have to create a product that people need, and it's something that's needed now, or you have to create a product that people don't know that they might need. And that's how business people start creating something. Elon Musk is in that right now. He's advancing the auto industry to creating something that you didn't know you needed the way you need it, like this, right? So there are different iterations that are coming out on how businesses are being created, how they're functioning in the world today that should inspire people that maybe just sitting in their garage, trying to create a business. I wouldn't necessarily always chase what's popular now because that could change. I would chase what you think people might need in a space or a void you think you can fill.
I totally agree with what you said right now. So I want to piggyback what you said. My thoughts of Apple, is Steve Jobs never created a phone or a music player or a laptop. He just reface it. He just gave it a new look to it that made people like, wow, I need that phone, or I need the iPod. No more music. You don't hear music players anymore. All you hear is the iPods. iPods, or there's some other company that try to came in, but they didn't work out. Another guy that said Elon Musk, dude, he went from PayPal. So I saw a story today. He sold PayPal for $180 million. He used $170 million towards SpaceX. I think it was he used 120 to SpaceX. I think 60 to Tesla, and 10 million to Solar City. And he still needed to borrow money for rent.
Yeah.
But that boy, he's somewhere else, man. But the guy that I think is taking over e-commerce is Jeff Bezos. He literally is taking that the direct to customer seriously. Like before, it was UPS or FedEx that brought you the Amazon box. Now you see Amazon little buses everywhere.
Yeah. Well, look how he did it.
And they don't
look how Jeff Bezos did it. He had a love and a passion for books. And Amazon started with books and CDs. That's how they originally started. In fact, when I got into the affiliate marketing game, Amazon is one of the first groups that actually started affiliate marketing as a tactic. He said, you know what, we can we can use this model. He wasn't the first to create it, but he was one of the first that said we can use this model of people promoting banners and ads on their website to sell our books and products. So he is always forward thinking about his business, just like you're talking about, Chop, in terms of, I'm going to look at the delivery system as it is today. I'm not going to let UPS and some of these other companies bend me over. I'm going to leverage how my own distribution centers and my own delivery systems, and I'm going to create my own supply chain essentially for my own business. That's how you scale, but it had to start somewhere. And so he's been always forward thinking and about how he's going to position himself. And it's not like Amazon just happened overnight. Again, it started off with books and CDs. It was super regular. And then all of a sudden it started scaling. People saw the demand. More and more it started to happen. And then all of a sudden you have what you have today, slowly adding products. It's kind of like the Blockbuster Netflix, right? Blockbuster was in the best position to be able to stream online, but they didn't see the value in it. They didn't see it until it was too late, until Reed Haskins and another co-founder who I'm trying to actually get on the show actually came out and said, no, we can stream this online. We could take this content. And then all of a sudden Blockbuster tried to change the game, but it was too late. So that's what I mean by you see the white space out there. You see the need. Netflix saw the need. They saw the opportunity that we can do this at home. They started off, I believe it was like $5.99, $6.99, no late fees. They would promote themselves on, and people knew they were getting killed by late fees at Blockbuster. And all of a sudden, here Netflix is, and Blockbuster is gone, right? Not because people just chose one or the other over the other, but it's because Blockbuster didn't adapt fast enough. And that's the same with a lot of e-commerce sites. They saw Amazon and they saw Amazon scaling, but sometimes they thought, well, what we're doing works. But Amazon was looking ahead and saying, no, here's the white spaces. That's called strategically thinking about your business.
Man, throw fire out there.
Right. How do you suggest, man, that you strategically think about your business? What is those processes?
Man, in my role at Lenovo today, that's what I do. I strategically think. I think about our business. So I'm always looking ahead, but just like in my own life, right? When I'm thinking about what my next move is for my family or how we're going to do this, that, and the other, it's always trying to look ahead and see. Let me give you an example. Right now, there's a problem in Silicon Valley. They hire about 2% minorities, right? And there's a hiring problem there. Well, there's a platform called LinkedIn where HR people go out, they look for hires and all that stuff. What happens, and maybe this is out there already, maybe somebody is doing this, but I don't know of it. Honestly, I don't. What happens if someone creates an app or an add-on to LinkedIn where people don't see who the pitcher is? They just see the pure qualifications of the employee. That employee gets their application or whatever into LinkedIn and Twitter, and it's not until the interview process that you find out whether they're African American or Hispanic. But remember, you clicked on them and you said bring them in for an interview, or I'm going to call them up for an interview purely based on qualifications, maybe college educated, maybe they have development experience. Well, who can create a system to be able to funnel some of that? Who's going to create something to challenge Silicon Valley in a way that says, hey, look, you don't always have to know how the person looks, because HR people have biases. They want to hire people that tend to look like them. That's why you go to any boardroom at any company. It's typically predominantly Caucasian folks, because people feel comfortable around people that look like them. It's just a fact. And so how do you step aside from some of that? Well, maybe you start creating tools or apps that helps assist them not be so biased in their hiring process. Again, that could be out there already, but it's stuff like that when you start really taking a whole look at the world queue and you start seeing where there's gaps, where there may be pain points at, whether it's poverty, whether it's something, how can I bring something in to advance the cause? Now, people can laugh at that and say, well, that's here's a problem. Developers are expensive and all that. Well, that's fine. Tell Uber that. When taxis were out, people were like, well, what's the use of it? There's taxis out there. And now they created Uber. Now they flipped the conversation where taxi drivers are complaining that they're not getting the work. So now when you try to catch an Uber, they put you in the back of the airport or way down by the airport instead of at the taxi, so the taxi can get the role. You have to push corporations, companies, systems to bend to your will and not always bend to their will. And so that's strategically thinking. But that requires time to think. You can't always be preoccupied with watching your favorite television shows or always on some BS. You requires a little time, a little quiet time to think about, man, what is it? What value can I bring to something that will change it? And if you're doing it for money, then forget it, because you'll run yourself ragged. You'll question yourself. You'll down yourself. But if you're doing it for the right reasons, then you'll be able to push the narrative a little differently. Jeff Bezos, when there's pictures out there where he has like spray painted on a wood panel that says Amazon, and he's in this, he's in a small room, but nobody could tell him nothing because he thought he was in the right place at the right time doing the right thing, and eventually he's proven right. Well, that's the same with Uber and any Netflix and anything else that has pushed an industry forward. Whether you like it or not, Napster is the one that changed the streaming game as we know it today. I remember clearly going out, buying records and then ultimately tapes and having boxes and boxes of tapes and other stuff. And now you literally can have a phone or something along those lines and keep hundreds, if not thousands, of MP3s and so on. So, dude, but you got to think about that stuff. I mean, sometimes that may hit some people, but, that's why I give people credit that's on Shark Tank. They thought about some of that stuff. They're giving consideration to what their challenge was and how maybe they're assuming that challenge is maybe for other people too.
Yes, I definitely understand what you're saying from that, Those people from Shark Tank, just give it a little thought, little brain power, little brainstorming, what can we do? They're not inventing anything new. Most people are not inventing no more. They just making it easier for the human to do it. Like Airbnb. People were complaining about prices of hotels, which they are expensive. Some hotels are very expensive for what they offer. And for the bargain, the price, I could go to someone's room, for $20 a night, and you sleep for the night. I'm gonna be there for only 2 nights and leave.
They're pushing the conversation so much, Chop, that people start trying to explain their business like it. They're like, I'm trying to be the new Uber of diapers. I'm trying to be the new Uber of brushing your hair. It's like they're using terminology. It's like you get the concept of what they're saying. They're trying to advance their industry, but it's kind of like, what is that thing you're trying to push forward? But that does require some thinking time. And most of these guys, Elon Musk, all these guys that we talked about, they're not getting paid for what they do. They're getting paid for what they think about and how they see their business moving ahead and how the competition is. And they're getting paid for thinking, not for what they're doing. That's strategy.
Man, you just hear them talk for 5 minutes. And you learn like 10 new things, You're just going after it, they just like, I heard him on a podcast and he was just throwing bombs and about, the government on this and that. And I'm like, you're surprised of what they think, those type of minds, they don't take a break. He says, sometimes I wish I have a normal brain because I could shut it off. He's like, I can't shut mine off. And he's just thinking of the problems and making a solution out of it, What problems do human beings have now that we can make it to, Like he had a problem with the car industry, gas is, the coal and all that. This is bad for the earth. He's like, hey, let's do hybrid, electric. And he's doing it. He's doing it. But I have one question for you. And I've seen this on a couple of blogs, this. Do you believe dropshipping is going to its end, or do you think it's starting to pick up its force?
So do I think dropshipping is the way to run the business? Is that what you're saying?
No. Do you believe dropshipping is going down, or is it just about to start and hit?
I think dropshipping. So when I worked at Buy Seasons in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, I worked there for 7-8 years, and we were dropshipping for large organizations, Walgreens, Toys R Us. We were doing white label. We worked with a company called Commerce Hub, where we did drop shipping for those guys. So when you got a costume from Target.com, it was actually coming out of the By Seasons warehouse. And so people are doing more drop shipping than you know. Drop shipping is happening a lot through different Shopify sites or what they call white label. So people, CBD is a big item, right? And then I went out and created hemp farms and bought UPC codes and tried to sell before the Farm Bill Act passed, try to sell it on Amazon. But then you had to be careful on the keywords and stuff like that you used. But I think drop shipping is not going anywhere anytime soon. It's not a new concept, and it's definitely not one of those things that just because you're drop shipping, it's popular just based off of that. It's popular ultimately based on the products that you order. So there's a website called easychinawarehouse.com where people order products and they do drop shipping directly from China or different companies. Well, depending on how hot the product is or how popular it is, it can do very well. Otherwise, it may not be popular at all. It's really based on the product. But I think the concept of drop shipping is not new, and it's not popular or unpopular. It's seen its boom. It's just still an ongoing tactic that some companies use and some companies start off using before they have their own product.
So what would be your preferred method as an owner or as a founder?
Well, I enjoy drop shipping because it's easier to scale with drop shipping. If you don't have tons of money to do product research and development, R&D, if you don't have a manufacturing system or supply chain in your house or anything that you can necessarily pump out of your garage, then drop shipping may be a place to go to, right? So Amazon even seen the benefit in that, where they started having Amazon warehouse, where they would warehouse your products and ship it out for you, and you could leverage their platform. So if you're just a small group of people, one or a few more, you have minimal startup costs, that would probably be the way to go if you're trying to make your way into a particular product space, right? And then as you scale the business and as you grow or you add more SKUs and inventory to your product, maybe you want to look at it differently. So if anybody here that's starting out fresh and they don't have tons of money, but they want to get into a game, then I probably would get a Shopify site, either get some UPC codes if you have a unique product, or, leverage some kind of website to start drop shipping my items. But other times it has nothing to do with drop shipping products. People sell stuff electronically that's downloadable, right? Where you don't have to send any products to them. It's, a software or something that people can download. So it really varies. It depends on what you're trying to start and how you're trying to start it. I've done it all. I've done the white label drop shipping on the CBD side with my son, Priest. I've done some stuff electronically that can include books or whatever the case may be. And I've been in the dropship space for a very long time at one point before moving down here to Raleigh, North Carolina. So again, that's one of those things, like, depending on what you're trying to do, what you're trying to sell, what kind of startup capital you have, it really just depends.
Awesome. Is Amazon considered drop shipping?
Yes, in a way they are, because people that have inventory either coming in from somewhere or they're shipping their inventory to Amazon, they do the shipping and they use their distribution centers and warehouses to actually ship your product. That would be drop shipping. Drop shipping is anytime someone is placing an order on your sale, but it's being fulfilled somewhere else. That's drop shipping. You're only transacting the sale, and the order, whether through API or something along those lines, is being sent to Amazon to fulfill that order for you.
Okay. So the items that are not Amazon products, right? But so Amazon buys these products, or like the other items that then drop ship? Like, do they? Or do you manufacturer just send them their? Yeah,
if you're kind of the manufacturer, you're sending your items to them to fulfill the shipping for you. If you're selling one-off gadgets or scarves or something that you're doing as a one-off, then a lot of people do the shipping on their own. Or you're creating beard products, lotions, or whatever it is. You may not send that to Amazon. You may do all that in-house right from your garage, send it off to them, whatever the case may be. But then there's larger items that people have brought in through China or some other warehouse that's shipped directly to them, and they fulfill that order for you. But yeah, a lot of people have products that they're selling through Amazon. They're using Amazon's platform to get the audience or eyeballs to actually fulfill those orders, and or they have a Shopify site or something along those lines where they're selling their products on too.
Is Amazon using all the?
Amazon is just using their platform.
But just me and Q were talking about it. So they have a subscription base, right? They got Prime, they drop ship. They're using more than they're probably wholesaling too,
exactly.
Right? Exactly. In house. So they're taking the e-commerce world and like using I think that's how I was telling Q right now. So they literally just took the e-commerce world and just like using their own Amazon product or Amazon name and just use it on everything.
Right. Exactly. So think about it. If they have 500,000 square foot shipping centers or larger, maybe double that size, right? Then they have a lot of space to warehouse other items from other people that they're selling. So they're like, hey, we need to expand not only selling Amazon-based products. So sometimes when you go on Amazon, you order a product and it doesn't ship under Prime, but there's a $3.99 shipment. A lot of times those shipments are a direct seller shipment, right? And a lot of times those are the ones that are being drop shipped or done through some wholesaling level versus a Prime order that may be directly from them somehow. So there are different ways that Amazon is not only leveraged themselves as an e-commerce platform as we know it, but they're also leveraging themselves as a supply chain, as a distribution center, along with their own shipping vehicles, etc. They essentially are becoming their own UPS, their own warehousing company, and their own e-commerce site. So that's what I mean. They've seen the bigger picture and they've looked at service lead times and other stuff, and they've expanded their business beyond just e-commerce as we know it today. Like they're no longer just e-commerce alone. People hear Amazon, they think purely e-commerce. No. It's just like McDonald's. McDonald's is more than a fast food restaurant. McDonald's is in the real estate, right? They buy the property in the areas that they get into. So when you see a McDonald's franchisee or something like that, they own the property. McDonald's has a team of people that go out and scout for locations and they buy the real estate. McDonald's makes more on their real estate in some cases, I believe, than they do in food.
Yes. McDonald's not in the hamburger business.
That's right.
It's in the real estate business. Right. And I saw that
so
in the
it's got to be true. You see it in the movies.
Wow. It's crazy though, man, but that's what it takes being well-rounded like that.
Well, that's why you're tapping into different stuff. That's why when we talked about the cigar review site, it's like that may be one thing, but what happens if cigar reviews become so popular, not with me, but just in general, that you decide, you know what, I'm going to start putting my own brand out there. I'm going to create my own blend. You start scaling and jumping ahead of what you started with and start broadening your offerings within a particular thing, right? Podcasting, you start off podcasting, you want to have great conversations, you have deeper questions that you want to have with sports people, authors, etc. But then podcasting starts to build a bigger brand for you around just podcasting. Like people may discount you and say, well, you're just a podcaster. Yeah, but I've written books that I sell my own books on. How else would anybody even know me other than this platform? So, a lot of times I heard this story where, and you guys may have heard this, I may even said this to you once before, where, you walk up to two guys and you ask, they're laying bricks on something. You ask one guy, what are you doing? And then what first guy just says, well, I'm just laying bricks. And you ask the other guy and he says, man, I'm building a church. He sees the bigger picture. When he doesn't see it as just laying bricks, he sees the whole picture of what it is. The other guy sees it as just laying bricks. So if somebody discounts you and say, well, you're just podcasting, dude, you see a small subset of what I'm trying to tap into. There's a whole picture to this. Well, that's Amazon, McDonald's, all of that. If you would have went to Jeff Bezos and was like, you're just selling books. It's like, well, now here he is, has shipping trucks and franchising out shipping trucks and getting other small businesses started, and he's employing other people. Come on, man. I mean, there's depth to people. And my son mentioned this when he talked to you guys. It's like there's some people, man, that they're really wide but they're not deep at all. They're really shallow. But there's some people that look really small, but when you dip your foot in, they're deep as hell. That water is deep. And that's what you want to strive to in business. You want it to be deep, not wide.
Yeah, that's true. I like that analogy a lot. Yeah, definitely that wisdom, you passed it down, man.
Thank you, bro. Yes, sir.
So from e-commerce, and we both spoke about this before because we were interested in this even further, and you already done this.
Mm-hmm.
The subscription service, that just that's is growing. Like that's just like on its own now. That's just everything's subscription. Amazon got Prime, then you got Netflix, that's subscription. You got Disney Channel, you got ESPN Plus, you got UFC, you Fight Nights, you got The Zone. There's HBO doesn't do boxing anymore, so The Zone said, "All right, I think Canelo, they paid much money for him to get there." Subscription are just Hulu. You got what else? I can just name them all out, but they're just they're just growing.
I think it plays its role too. I mean, subscription service goes beyond channels, right? I mean, you got websites out there like Loot Crate, Wantable.com. That's WANTABLE.com, where people can go on and get a certain kind of fitness clothing. And, even so much so that the big box players, when I say big box, so think of like Brooks Brothers, where they do suits and stuff. You can go out and now create subscription boxes to have certain things sent to you monthly, so that you can even get, subscription boxes in cigars, subscription boxes in just about anything you want. So there's channels. And that's the other thing people want. They want customizable shopping. So subscription boxes creates this customizable shopping experience for some. And on the back of that has come a lot of boxes. As you mentioned, I wrote a book about it. Started off with a company, Wantable.com, in subscription box business. Didn't even think of that as a play a long time ago. And then my business mentor came to me and was like, "Hey, I'm doing this." And his business is killing it right now. And so subscription is an e-commerce play because it's mostly completely on the website. And then there's a subscription box component to it where women and men are getting monthly boxes for whatever it is they want. And I bet you can just about dang near find anything subscription based. You mentioned channels as one of them, where now what has happened with subscriptions, they've now forced the hand of people like Spectrum or cable channels, Cox or whoever it is, where now they've forced their hand where not only do they have to lower the price, but they figured out, man, we're not only competing with Netflix anymore, but we're competing with Hulu, and Disney Plus figured out the game, right, from Netflix. So they're like, man, we got to go and get all of our Disney property back from these sites and bring them into our own channel. So subscription is huge, and it'll probably just continue to scale, man. People are trying to find ways to get in the subscription business. And again, that goes back to there's no silver bullet in it. If I knew it, I'd probably do it. But can you find a product or something that serves the need of a customer and meet that need? And then, you have a business on your hands.
It's supply and demand at the end of the day. Me and my dad talk about it all the time. He asked me the other day before I was going to ride bikes. He said he thought about any new business ideas. He knew, because I'm always thinking. I always got it on my mind. You never know. I had thought about a case for your keys, because you ever had your keys ever go through your pockets, like when when you're wearing it. So I thought about it, man. I looked it up. They already got it out. So,
yep.
Man, I don't know. I'm gonna find something one day.
Yeah, but see, you're on that path. You're on that path of like getting to the point of where your father is asking any questions, like, you got any ideas, and so forth and so on. That's on the thinking path. I mean, that's kind of broadening your idea of what business looks like. You're just no longer a consumer. I mean, most people are consumers. They walk into a store, they buy what they want, they got what they need, and they punch a clock. If that's who you are, that's great. But then there are some people that are kind of thinking beyond that and kind of opening up, like, not only can I be a consumer, but I also can add value to the marketplace.
That's right.
There you go. That's right. That's exactly where that comes from.
There you go. Priest, we learned a lot today. I hope our listeners learned a lot today,
Cream
too.
City, baby.
Shout out to Cream
City Bucks, your next
basketball
champions. Wait, why do you doubt it, Q?
Well, Kawhi Leonard, first of all, I tell you, he's my new favorite player since D Wade left. I always like Kawhi since the Spurs. He go hard. So
okay, that's in the West, but we coming out of the East.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. I mean, you might. I'm not going to argue that too much. East, I'm not.
We got I was going to.
Toronto might in the 6th. Boston.
I was thinking Toronto and Miami. Miami is a handful.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I haven't seen them play like that.
Yep.
That's Jimmy Butler in them, right?
Jimmy Bucket.
Who? I don't even know who's.
You know, I forgot too. That's where Boppo can fill us in at. But I mean, they got them squad, man. And Miami, I think, is there. I think Toronto is. They're always deadly. They got Siakam and Lowry, but I don't know if that team is going to stick together. You know, this is the thing. Yeah, that's true. They got Fred too. Yeah, so they got some ballers on there, but I think we will come out of the East, and whoever we face, whether it's the Lakers is dangerous now because now you got Anthony Davis, LeBron James that are rested. But you're right, Clippers is Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. They still got Beverly. They got a squad too. So I'm not sleeping on any of them, but I still think Cream City Bucks champions.
Well, okay, we will see. Priest, thank you very much for coming in and joining us. Giving your thoughts about e-commerce, and Q, any last remarks before we leave?
Oh man, you gotta stay with it. Like you said, keep your mind going. Always have a thinking. Whatever you see, if you go to the store, think about how you can make things better. If you go to the restaurant, think how you can make things better. If you at home, like somebody made the remote, like man, I ain't trying to keep getting up to the TV now. Like, you gotta do something. So I mean, just whatever. Like something out there. Just keep your mind going.
Just keep your mind. You say keep your mind growing. You just keep thinking. And once you stop thinking, you go dead. So, guys, today was e-commerce with special guest Priest Willis.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much again. And to the next one. Holla.